Hi everyone, welcome to the first class of Cybersecurity 101 course. Before we start, there are some rules which I want you to get familiar with. Number 1, whatever questions you have, just note them down. There is no need to interrupt me or anyone else. Once I'm done explaining a topic, I by myself will ask if you have any questions. That is when you can put forward your questions. Keep it decent, keep it cool. I'm not very strict around how I take my classes, but make sure that you maintain the decorum of the class. So, my entire idea around building all these courses in Surakshyaan is to make sure that people understand things and not cram them. Okay? Because if you can understand something, it is more likely that you'll be able to recreate it in your own ways or visualize or make definitions in your own ways. But if you cram it, you will very obviously forget it with time. Okay, so make sure you try to understand things and not just cram definitions like a parrot. Few suggestions before you start. Number one, make sure you make notes because it is a very important practice. It will help you to recollect things in less time whenever you want to. Ask as many questions as you can. As humans, I think the ability to ask questions is one of the superpower that we have because it opens doors to knowledge. Okay? Revise things the same day, it will only take 30 minutes. If you push it past that, you will take more time to revise and recall things. Also, just know that there is no question which is too dumb to ask. It's better to ask than being a fool for the rest of your life. So let's get started. This is a list of topics for first week. I don't have to read it out loud. You can just have a look here and then we can start. So, what is hacking? We have heard this term a lot of times. We see it in news, we see it on social media platforms, we hear someone sent a phishing email and someone clicked on it and then money was debited from their account. But do we exactly understand what hacking is? Because, like Albert Einstein said, if you can't define something, you don't understand it well enough, right? So, let me give you a analogy to understand what hacking exactly is. So, here I have a diagram. On left, this is a house. Let's say it is your house. Okay, this house has a broken window. What does a broken window represent? It represents a weakness, an entry point into this house. So let's say you have this house, there's a broken window in your house, and a thief notices that there's a broken window through which he can enter your house. And what are the impact? What is the impact if a thief enters through the window into your house? Well, impact is loss of wealth and maybe loss of reputation also, right? So a simple analogy, you have a house, your house has a broken window, which is a weakness. An attacker or a thief notices this weakness, he exploits this to enter your house and then steals your money. Okay? Now let's replace or maybe rephrase this analogy using a different set of words. So understand this house as your computer or phone or Wi-Fi or network, your website or IoT device. This broken window is a vulnerability. What is a vulnerability? A vulnerability is simply a weakness in something. Okay? This vulnerability was exploited by who? This thief, this threat actor, right? And what was the impact? Loss of wealth, loss of reputation, and in extreme cases, maybe loss of life also. So basically what we're trying to say is you have an asset, there's a weakness in your asset or maybe in things surrounding your asset. An attacker or a threat actor notices it and exploits it in order to gain something useful for him or beneficial for him, and which would obviously cause damage to you, right? So let's talk about history of hacking. You'd be surprised to know that hacking was a thing way before computers, right? Because until now we or anyone else have only thought of hacking as something which is associated with computers. But you'd be surprised to know that hacking goes beyond computers. So you don't just hack machines, but you also hack humans. That is also a thing. So the first hack that happened was in 1834. It was done by Blank brothers, where they successfully tricked a telegraph operator to give out some sensitive information about the stock market, which would help them to benefit from it. Okay, so this is an example of a social engineering attack. In simple terms, it means human hacking. We'll read about it later on, but it's a very interesting concept. Okay, and obviously, with advancement in technology and introduction, hacking also found its way into computers. And you should definitely read about Steve Wozniak and Kevin Mitnick, because these are the big names when it comes to hacking or when hacking started. So let's define hacking now. Well, I would like to put it this way: hacking is the art of making something intentional do unintentional things. What does it mean? For example, as a creator of a lock, I create a lock and my intention is to help people secure their shops or houses, right? Now, my intention with that lock is that lock should only be opened using its key, right? The key which is made specifically for that lock. That's my intention around it, or that's the intentional behavior, right? But what if someone is able to open that lock using paper clips? Now, that is something unintentional, right? We can call it hacking. Another example is, let's say I, as a developer, create a school management system where my intention is students should be able to view their scores, and teachers should be able to update the scores for those students, right? But what if a student is not only able to view their score but also change it? Now that's an unintentional behavior, and I can name it as hacking.